Thought it'd be fun to do a Q&A with the one and only Kyra.
So there's just no damn way that Oscar doesn't know the backlash that will like come from this, because he's definitely aware of what his community thinks about Kyra. I mean, the guy was literally telling his stans to knock it off. And in my humble opinion, because it's just obvious, Oscar is using the whole breakup and Kyra being his ex-girlfriend as content. I mean, he's pushed it out, so it is that way. And even though there's people out there who are refusing to believe that fact, it is like the literal reality of the situation. Which, whatever, dude, use it to your advantage, I guess.
Answer some of you guys' questions. You guys have a lot of them.
Well, yeah, because there's actually been like a lot of unanswered questions throughout this whole breakup thing.
Some juicy ones.
Yeah, some juicy ones.
Oh, you mean like Kyra cheating?
So instead of beating around the bush, let's just go ahead and get right into these questions.
Bro, on the real, they've been beating around the bush for quite some time now.
Question number 1.
How do you feel about Kyra's new boyfriend?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is actually a good one. I'm kind of shocked they're even answering that.
I was definitely shocked at first. It was definitely an adjustment. A little... I wouldn't say it caught me off guard.
I mean, I would, especially if you didn't know who it was. It should have caught you off guard. But let's read what this caption says. At first, I felt anger and betrayed, but over time, I realized that those feelings were only hurting myself. So it was time to get over them and adjust accordingly in order to benefit myself and all parties involved. I will say that is a mature way to go about it. Now, at first with the breakup, Oscar, I do believe lashed out a little bit. There's the drunken Instagram live, and then there's the kind of like throwing shade at Kyra with the titles and thumbnails, here and there, and little things like within his videos. But it has kind of seemed like he's cut that shit out and is trying to move on from the situation.
It's just weird because of who it was.
So it caught you off guard.
Truthfully, if she dated anybody else, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I don't really believe that. Now, do I believe Oscar's moved on? Do I believe that he's better off without Kyra? Yes, absolutely. But I don't believe that he would be okay if it was some random dude. Because guess what? Oscar caught Kyra cuddling up with some other dude. It wasn't Preston. It was some other guy. And that obviously hurt him, which is completely understandable. But obviously when he talked about it, he got emotional, which again is fine. It's justifiable. But it wasn't Preston, it was some other dude. So I really don't believe it when he says, oh, if it was another guy, I really wouldn't care. That makes no sense. Of course you would care. Why is he saying this?
The positives of it have been that the kids were already comfortable with him, already kind of knew him, and so the transition into that was a little easier.
They probably looked at Preston like an uncle, but now he's like the stepdad.
Which is kind of nice. But it was still really, really awkward and uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it was. The dude's supposed to be your, friend. I don't know, best friend, but he's supposed to be your friend. And he ends up getting with Kyra shortly after you guys break up.
Do you feel like it's better?
Yeah. I feel like our friendship isn't there anymore, but hey, that's what it has to be. It's just, yeah, you guys are doing your thing.
In my opinion, it's only better because, there's nothing he can do except for come to terms with the situation. Now, if it was me and I had to do something like that, I would definitely, not talk to him and avoid him as much as possible, and maybe Oscar's doing that. I don't know. But he obviously said that the friendship is not there anymore.
Question number 2.
Any regrets on how you handled the split?
This question always comes up. They've already answered this.
I think every breakup is going to come with regrets, and especially in the sense of how things are handled. There's really no perfect way.
Okay, there's a bit of a difference there, Kyra, with what you did and what normal people do within a breakup. But point being, if Oscar was petty or being spiteful towards you or wanted revenge, and then he did something within that spectrum to get back at you and then later on regretted it, that's him handling the breakup and the situation poorly, while you literally were laughing in the breakup video and talking over him and defining what cheating is. There were so many things Kyra did and said throughout this whole thing that just make her look horrible. I mean, do y'all remember when Kyra was telling her community to basically F off and to go kick rocks because they didn't like what she was doing? That to me does not speak regret or remorse. There's just so many things that happened after the breakup video that just proved that she was happy. I mean, right before they even announced their breakup, Kyra was posting thirst traps on Instagram in the time where she said that she was so sad from the breakup that she was crippled in bed. Those thirst traps weren't for Oscar. They weren't for herself. They were for Preston. Preston. She was just fine.
I do kind of regret how I handled things online. Actually, not kind of, a lot. I do feel like that I was trying to pretend I was okay when truly I wasn't.
And notice how she always says that she regrets how she handled it online, but never says how she handled it within real life. Because guess what? The breakup video was a real breakup. It just wasn't an online thing. It actually happened. When Kyra talked about how Oscar had to go sleep in the basement because they weren't comfortable with each other anymore, being broken up and whatever, that was real.
And I should have accepted and not embraced, but just been okay with having emotions at the time. And then also, I think I should have given you more space and not tried to be friends right away.
Oh God, is Kyra one of those chicks who like breaks up with her boyfriend and then still tries to be their friend right after? Oh my God, that's horrible.
I regret the way I acted out of emotion towards the end of our relationship because I saw it coming. Lashed out a few times. I hate that I did that.
Okay, so this is Oscar admitting that it was a little petty after the breakup and he lashed out and this and that, right? He's admitting that he regrets it and how he handled things. This makes a lot more sense than what Kyra is saying.
Wish we went to therapy. Like, the minute you started having those feelings, I wish you would have told me. We could have tried going to therapy.
I mean, to be real, she did kind of tell him, maybe not in full, but like they've had several videos talking about their like multitude of like issues and things have been said before. And to be real, if it really was that bad, Oscar should have picked up on it. That's all I'm saying. But I am kind of confused because, you know, Oscar's doing this whole thing about like being happy away from Kyra, and like I'll agree to that, but he's also saying that he wishes that they went through therapy, and that could just be like, you know, for the kids or something. I don't know.
For those of you who are feeling any sort of way towards your significant other, let them know immediately. Seek therapy. Try to fix it as soon as possible and nip it in the butt before it becomes an overwhelming feeling that you can't escape anymore, you know?
The problem I have with this is that, you know, he's also said that he's had issues with Kyra, but like his words kind of speak like he really didn't. I mean, he said they were stagnant or whatever, but he didn't really specify on things that she was doing wrong, even though he has also kind of done that. I don't know. It's just so weird and confusing. I just think they both are still not telling us the complete truth about like what really happened. I mean, Oscar admitted that if we saw his bad side, that we would hate him.
Question number 3.
I want to know why she's all of a sudden adventurous with Preston, yet she isn't with you.
Same.
I'm not adventurous. Like, I don't do any of the things that you wanted to do, like skydiving, rock climbing. Like, all those things that you love, I still don't do. I'm guessing that this person means, like, traveling.
Okay, so that's not really the question, Kyra. The question is, why are you doing things that you wouldn't do with Oscar? The other question is, why wasn't Oscar doing things with you? Like, it can go both ways here. Oscar did not do things with Kyra, and Kyra didn't do things with Oscar. They did it here and there, one of the little trips or whatever, but they didn't just, like, do things together.
Because that's the only thing adventurous that I do now that I didn't do before, and that's only because I had my kids all the time before, and now I go a week without them.
Okay, so that actually makes a little more sense there, you know, not having the kids as much. That's valid. But still, they both could have went out as a family and did things as much as they want. They have so much free time, you know? They could have did it, but they chose not to do it. And that's because their relationship was toxic and they didn't want to be around each other. That's the real reason why they didn't go out as a family and do things. They couldn't even be in the same room.
So, you know, I have time to do.
I feel like you still traveled while you were with me.
Oh, here we go. In my opinion, I don't think Kyra traveled as much as Oscar did when they were together. I think Oscar went off more, but I do believe Kyra still went out and she did her thing.
Because I haven't really, like, keep up with your social media, and so I was wondering, like, oh, has she been more adventurous? I was actually kind of proud of you. I was like, oh, well, whatever it takes for you to be more adventurous, I feel like it just brings more opportunities to you. You get to have more experiences in life.
God, Oscar's such a cuck sometimes, man. I do find it funny, though, that he says, like, he doesn't keep up with her social media, so he doesn't know if she's being more adventurous. Even though, like, he's watched the kids sometimes while like she goes off and does things.
But if you're talking about the type of Oscar adventure, I will never do those things. That's not my personality. It doesn't matter who I'm with. What I do and don't do is based off of what I do and don't want to do, not who I'm with, if that makes sense.
You literally dyed your hair like Hannah's and got a boob job for Preston.
Question number 4.
Oscar always says that he wants to move to a different place. Do you think that will be possible?
This question's already been answered several times.
I'm willing to move, but not to California. There's no way. I would be struggling for the rest of my life, and I don't ever want to be housebroke, and that's what I would be in California no matter what.
Valid reasoning.
Well, I guess I can't speak for you anymore, but there was a point in our life where we didn't like to be around family that much, and I do think that feeling would come back if we lived around them.
I think what she means is that they didn't like being around her, and so that's what she didn't like.
I wouldn't say we didn't like to be around family, though. I would say that we were just always busy doing our own thing. We were really high energy. And
yeah, that's like I'm just putting it in a very quick way.
Saying that you don't like to be around family and saying that you like to go off and do your own thing. Those are like two different things. One's understandable. You know, you can be around your family, but you like to go out and just kind of be with your own like little family. That makes sense. But you literally just said you don't like to be around your family. There's no reading between the lines here.
Question number 5.
Do you feel guilty that you created a broken family for your kids?
Yes, I feel terribly guilty about this one.
Bro, I'd not just expect Austin to come in first and say he regrets it.
It is hard, but I have a little bit of a different opinion because yes, it didn't work out ideally and you know, it's different, but realistically, every family has their own version of what family is. And this is just our version.
That wasn't the question.
Now our kids see us both happy and healthy, maybe not together, but they see it that in the first place. And that's not something I feel like they really saw when we were together.
No, because all they saw was toxicity. They saw on the daily that mommy and daddy didn't want anything to do with each other.
They see that it's okay that sometimes things don't work out, that you shouldn't settle, not just like for a partner, I'm not saying that.
That's literally what settling means.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, my family's, well, everybody I know actually has a broken family.
Yeah, it's actually probably more normal nowadays to have a broken family than it is to have like two solid parents in a healthy relationship, which is messed up and unfair, but that's just the reality of things. Some people are not meant to be together.
Yeah, I don't like the term broken family because I grew up in a broken family. Yeah, I had a really rough childhood. It was very different than this.
Family.
I wouldn't really say that they're broken. I wouldn't really say that Kyra tore the family apart because we all know that they weren't meant for each other, that they were going to break up eventually. Like, I've been calling this out for years that this was going to happen. We saw this shit coming from a mile away because we've seen it before. But their kids weren't happy. They weren't happy. It was already a toxic household. You can't tear something away when it's already been torn, you know?
Our kids are happy. They have a really good life. Sometimes I'm like, you guys need some hardships to make you like humble because yeah, but.
Yo, this does not help Kyra. This makes you look so much worse by saying that. She just said that her kids are happy, which is great, right? If the kids are better, cool. But you cannot come on here into a Q&A where people don't even want you. And you cannot say that your kids have it so good that they need to be humbled, they need some hardships. Bro, no. That's not what you want for your children. When you have children, like my son, I don't want him to ever go through what I went through. Kyra's mom and her upbringing was her hardship. She shouldn't be saying that she wants her kids to have a hardship. And the problem is that she did create somewhat of a hardship for her children. And I do believe Oscar did as well, because I believe that they both have some sort of toxicity and role to play within the breakup. They both did. Kyra's definitely worse for the way it was handled, but still, there's a big difference with your kids learning or you even teaching them life lessons so that they can handle the world when they're older than you actually creating a hardship.
Question number 6.
Does either of you pay child support?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this for them. They just say no anyways because they don't. But what I do find funny is that I had a comment on my channel. I don't have it anymore. I deleted it because it was stupid. But somebody was like, oh, F that whore, and just all this stuff about Kyra, right? She's forcing him to pay child support, and yet they have no proof that's even a thing. And here's Oscar and Kyra answering that question, saying that they go 50-50 in on the kids, and there's no like custody battles, and there's no child support, nothing. Some of these people make up the craziest assumptions.
Does Kyra's BF get jealous that you and Kyra still spend time together?
I mean, I would definitely say so, because people like that who cheat and like do shitty things to their other girlfriends, they're just full of jealousy, they're full of paranoia, they're just like full of anxiety, everything. Those type of people are always filled with those type of like emotions and feelings because they do that to other people. It's just like how a cheater is worried about getting cheated on, so they just cheat anyways. Because, you know, logic.
I can say that, like, we have very healthy conversations, and we've, you know, had many conversations about this.
Imagine getting jealous over Oscar, your ex-best friend that you over by getting with this girlfriend of 7 years.
Not many, but we've had, like, a few, because I always want to make sure that I'm respecting both myself, you, him, like, I want everybody to be comfortable with.
Bro, that's so off-putting because this entire time she hasn't really been respecting Oscar. Maybe like now, but like during it all, she didn't respect him. And in fact, she couldn't even respect him enough to actually like tell him that she was planning on leaving him. She was trying to sabotage the relationship. She wasn't even trying. Now, we all know that girls, you know, once they're done, they're done. So maybe it was that. Maybe there's a reason why she did what she did. Not that it's justifiable. It's horrible the way she handled it. I shouldn't have to keep saying that because obviously she's shit. But also Oscar didn't respect her as well because he didn't pay attention to her. And he's admitted to that, so don't come at me.
Sometimes it is hard in life when you're mediating that many people.
She had no problem in mediating all his relationships.
It seems like you're learning from our past relationship and applying that into your new relationships. Is that true?
Oh God, Oscar, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like, most things that I regret in our relationship. I've
working on?
changed, like, especially our respect for each other. I'm not sure we ever had respect for each other.
It's just so comical, man, that they want to do this whole thing about like retaining what they did and what they didn't do, like within their relationship, and apply that, you know, outward towards other people. But they never took a chance when they had several chances to like go to therapy, even though that was a huge option within their relationship. Even their own fans were mentioning that to them, but Kyra was like, I don't believe in therapy. Not to mention all the problems they had within the relationship.
Well, we used to joke around a lot, which, I thought it was funny, and like we both thought it was banter and stuff, but when you hear the same jokes over and over and over, they become not funny, and then they just become kind of rude. I don't know. I think that was from our high school mentality. We brought that into our relationship since we got together so young.
I don't know, man. If you're calling girls fat, then you're just a bully.
Because truly, if you don't love and respect yourself, you can't provide that for somebody else.
I mean, you can't really love and respect yourself when your own partner's calling you fat. Also, Kyra, you can always go out and do self-care and self-love while you're in a relationship. You don't have to be out of it to do it, because you're doing it now. You're doing this self-love, self-care stuff, right? You're doing it now while you're in a committed relationship with Preston.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things, and I mean, there was goods about our relationship. I don't want to be like, it was all bad, because that's not true.
The only thing good was the kids, and that's it. Because notice, aside from the children, they can never talk about what was actually good about their relationship.
But there definitely was a lot of toxicity.
Yeah, we were just too young and we didn't know better. We were really immature.
Oh God, here we go.
We were young and dumb and didn't know any better.
Why do vloggers always do this? They always chalk up their shittiness to being young and dumb. I'm sorry, man. When I was young and dumb, I didn't do any of this. You know what I mean? I didn't do any of this toxicity. There's a huge difference with making stupid decisions and being the toxic piece of shit. Like, on the real. Like, truly on the real. There's a huge difference between those two things. They are not teenagers anymore. They are not in high school. They are in their, like, what, mid-20s? That time is over. And they were doing this stuff up until the breakup.
Sure, I feel like it's sad that it took this, but it took this to, like, learn more about how friendships work, how relationships should be.
You guys already had all your chances to do that. Again, they've had a ton of videos pushed out about their crappy relationship, talking about how they fixed it, this and that, whatever. This is just, you know, more drivel.
And this also taught me to pick up on red flags before, like, as you're dating.
Bruh, ain't no way he just said that.
Oh, sorry, Whiskey.
Basically saying I had red flags that you could have paid attention to.
Well, no, but like...
No, that's exactly what you just said, like on the real.
Like, things that I didn't like in our relationship, I can already spot, and it's been easier to spot earlier into, like, dating than ever before.
Oscar, you're literally saying that you retain the shitty things that Kyra did, and you're applying that to your new relationships or, like, dating life or whatever? That's literally picking out red flags based from what Kyra did. That's what you're saying. What are you talking about?
Yes, there is always good and bad in your partner. There is going to be things that you don't like, and you have to weigh out the goods and the bads, but it's also okay to have boundaries.
God, they've already talked about boundaries before. And what is Kyra talking about? The good and bad in partnerships. Like, I get that. Like, that's a real thing. There's pros and cons to everybody. But she's literally said before that there's nothing wrong with Oscar, that he's a great partner, a great friend, a great father, and just all this garbage, right? She said all this before, but she's also claimed that he's toxic in his own ways. So it's like, can you pick a lane already, chick?
With certain things, and I really don't think either of us had boundaries that should have been there.
And what boundaries is she even talking about? The only thing I can think of is like, hey, don't cheat.
Yeah, we didn't know better.
Yeah.
No, you did. You just ignored the signs.
It's not that it was bad. It was just, like, so naive. That's what we were so naive.
No, it was bad. It's beyond being naive, my guy.
I wonder if we still are, and we're going to look back on this and be like, damn, we were idiots
Well, you always
back then.
learn. We'll probably look back at this and think...
Yeah, I'm just going to stop them right here because, in my opinion, I don't really think they've gone past the high school mentality.